Hey there, creative entrepreneurs and photographers. Welcome to our Pro Series. This is where we give your biz a glow up, one step at a time. Industry professionals are spilling their secrets and breaking down their coveted secrets of success. Without further ado, let's jump in. I'm your host, Rebecca Van. Let's go. Today we are learning from the networking and styled shoot king, Reed Gallagher. He's a wedding and senior portrait photographer based in Houston, Texas, and today he is spilling all of his secrets with us, from how he started his business at only 15 when he shot his first wedding to his incredible success now.
That not only can you do it, not only can you get your business license at 15 years old, but you can also kill it. 3 years, Reed, 3 years. Your business has gone from 0 to 100, like 99, hitting the wall, gas all the way down. And you are now educating other photographers on how they can achieve the same success. A great tip after a great tip after a great tip.
So that's kind of how I was able to rapidly grow so fast.
Hey guys, welcome to our interview. We are here with Reed Gallagher from Houston, Texas, and he is a killer wedding and senior photographer over in the middle of America. And he is going to tell us today all about networking with vendors. I know when I started out in the industry, I had no idea how to network, and it took me years to figure out that there's a magic to this. And you can go from 0 to 99 or 100 if you know how to network in the wedding industry and with even senior photographers, right, Reed?
Yeah, for sure.
Let me introduce you to Reed.
Hey guys, my name is Reed Gallagher, and I am a wedding and senior photographer based in Houston. I started my business as a sophomore in high school. I shot my first wedding when I was 15, and ever since I've been going headstrong in the wedding industry, and networking with other vendors is just such a game changer for me, and it's helped me get to where I am in the industry today. And so I'm super excited to be able to talk with y'all all about networking and how to use that to grow your business.
So you started your business. This is crazy. When you messaged me and told me that you started your business when you were 15, before you had your driver's license, that's craziness. So how old are you now?
I'm 18 now.
So you're 18. 3 years, Reed, 3 years. Your business has gone from 0 to 100, like 99, hitting the wall, gas all the way down. And you are now educating other photographers on how they can achieve the same success. That is mind-blowing. I didn't realize it had only been 3 years.
Wow.
That is nuts. So tell me about the start of your business, how you knew you wanted to do photography, and then how networking really changed the game for you.
Yeah, so I was a sophomore in high school, and I just kind of started like taking photos of my friends, just kind of same story, kind of how every other photographer starts. Like you just start with your camera, you use that. And then I started posting the photos on Instagram, and then people would start messaging me like, hey, how much does a session cost? And I was like, oh, wow, you want to pay me to do this. So from there, I kind of took off and I started posting and like advertising like, hey, I'm going to start booking sessions now. And it just kind of picked up from there. I started with seniors, and then I kind of made a switch into starting to do couples and weddings. And I started with second shooting, and I started with styled shoots. So I had second shot around 10 weddings before I ever did a solo wedding on my own. And I had already been to, I think I had done 2 styled shoots before I ever shot a wedding. So I was already networking with other vendors before I ever did a wedding of my own. So that's kind of how I was able to rapidly grow so fast, is because of how I networked with other vendors in the industry before I ever shot a wedding. So I kind of from the start knew like one way that I can grow is to connect with all these people through second shooting, through styled shoots, through social media and interacting with them on there. So from the start, I was doing all these networking tactics. That way, once I knew I was going to be ready to book weddings of my own, I could jump in head first and just start shooting from there.
Wow. So when did you start? Like, how old were you when you shot your first wedding? 15?
So I was 15 when I shot my first wedding. So I started my business in like May of, what would that be, like 2017, I think. And then I shot my first wedding in March of 2018. So I was about to be 16, but I was still 15 when I shot this wedding.
Shut up. My little girl is about to be 9, and that would be like 6 years from now, starting like her career. Like, that is so bizarre. I love this, and I'm obsessed with it because I think that you sharing this can give so much hope and so much potential to young people everywhere, that not only can you do it, not only can you get your business license at 15 years old, but you can also kill it. Like, you can kill it. Like, Reed is killing it, y'all. No, this guy is killing it. And we'll get into more of his accomplishments and all that stuff later. But right now, you just need to know he's killing it. And more important than anything, I want you guys to know that, like, you can too. And he's going to tell you exactly how to do that and how he really jumped ahead and changed the game. Like, this is so cool to me, Reed, because if I'd had this when I was 15 or 17, I started shooting when I was 17. But I did not set out thinking that I would end up doing this, like, professionally. You know, I just thought, like, this is just fun. I love cameras. I love doing this. And so I started shooting when I was 17, but, you know, I could drive. You said your mom had to drop you off at your weddings because you didn't have a driver's license.
Yep. So what happened, so she would always drop me off when I was second shooting, but then my first wedding that I shot solo when I was 15, she drove me there. She dropped me off, and then my second shooter had to drive me from the getting ready location to the ceremony site. And then they had to drive me again from the ceremony site to the reception. So I just kind of like tagged along with them. So that's how I had to do it because I couldn't drive. So my mom was my Uber driver for the first year, 2 years.
What a story. Like, and that just shows like what you can overcome. Like the hindrances that most people think are actually hindrances, they're really not. Just get out there, do what you need to do. Like, just do it. Like, look at Reed. He's just a prime example of what you can do when you're young. Okay, so I had a couple questions.
Yes.
Can you tell us just a little bit about you and like, what is a typical day in your life? Do you work mostly on weekends? Do you shoot during the week? Like, what does a day in your life look like so we can just kind of get a feel of what Reed's life is, and then we're going to go into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah, so I shoot portrait sessions on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And then I have my weddings are normally on Saturdays. So that's kind of what my shooting schedule looks like, is I'll have anywhere from 1 to 3 portrait sessions a week, and that could be engagement sessions or senior sessions. And those are normally on weekdays, and then weddings on the weekends. I only shoot about 15 weddings a year. I was never the person who would do like 30 or 40 weddings a year from the start. I've always been just 10 to 15 a year. Just because while I was in school, and I'm still in school now, that's easier to manage for my schedule. But I like doing that because I can just really give the most attention to my couples that way and just provide them like with the highest end experience there. And so a day in my life would be, I still have to do school. So my school's online though. So it gives me a lot more flexibility with my schedule. So normally I'll wake up, I'll do my school in the morning, and then after that I'll do just my like online marketing for the week. I like to batch my content out. So normally on Mondays is my batch content day. I'll create my social media schedule for the week, my blogging schedule for the week, and my email schedule. I'll do that at the start of the week. And then from there, I'll just do my sessions for the week, and then weddings on the weekends.
I love this. So what are you studying in school? Like, what direction are you going with school?
So my major is strategic communications, which is really focusing a lot on like public relations and copywriting and like social media. So it's very applicable to.
I love it. My minor was in communication, so yeah. I am obsessed with it. And I probably would have majored in it too if we had anything I felt like around here that would sustain it. But I'm in a super small town, nothing like Houston. Probably like your block in Houston is probably the size of my town. Like, it's like nothing in that arena is here. That's amazing though. I love communication. So that sounds super interesting.
Yeah, I went in as a business major on like a pre-entrepreneurship track, but then I switched in May to be communications just because I realized that's more of what I'm passionate about than the nitty-gritty numbers and that side. I like the advertising aspect more than the marketing aspect.
Me too. Advertising was my favorite subject in communications. And I feel like though you already have like a good business grounding. So there's some of it, but like what you're going to learn in college is more of like corporate business, not small entrepreneurial business. Mine is a business degree and I learned corporate business, not how to do what we do. So that's completely applicable and I love that. So Reed, what would your number one tip be for someone new, say that 15-year-old that is in small town America or big city America and they don't know anyone, they don't know what to do? What would be your number one tip for someone trying to get started in the wedding business? Let me know.
Yeah, so what I would recommend is to go out and get any of your friends, whether they're dating, they're engaged, or if you're young, you're 15, you don't know anyone like that, just grab any of your friends. You can treat it as a senior session. Go out and shoot those sessions and shoot a portrait session. They don't have to pay you. Treat it. It can be a free, unpaid session. And then go on Instagram and post those photos and treat it like it was a paid session. So what I would recommend is have like a model call, whether that's texting your friends or posting on social media, getting people you know. Find 2 to 3 couples. Go out and shoot those couples, give them a free session, and then post those photos on social media and talk about it like it was a paid session. Now, you don't have to lie and say they paid you when they didn't, but the way that you can frame that narrative is you can caption the photo like, I had so much fun shooting with this couple and getting to take their anniversary photos or their engagement photos. It was great to connect with them and to go out and have a fun session with them. You're not saying that it was a free session. You're just treating it like it was any other session. And you can start doing that on social media. And that's a great way to get started. And then they'll share the photos and you can start following other photographers and other people in your local industry. And then you'll have a portfolio built up that you can start using to grow your business.
I love that, Reed. That is probably the best tip. I absolutely love that. And speaking of social media, so social media is such a big tool that we can be using day to day, but a lot of people don't know how to use it. So if someone say they do this with a couple of engaged couples, but they don't know how to network and get an audience or a clientele through that, what would you suggest to someone that's trying to use social media to network?
Yeah, so for me, my main social media is Instagram, just because that's where my ideal client is. My ideal client's main social media is Instagram, so that's also going to be my main social media for my business. So what I do is I find local vendors that are in the same industry as me, and I follow them on Instagram, and I just engage with them there. So a few ways that you can find some of these vendors in your area are to go through hashtags. You can search like hashtag Houston wedding vendor or hashtag Houston weddings, or you can go to any bridal magazine that might be in your area. So for me in Houston, a lot of times I can connect with vendors through Brides of Houston. That's one of our local bridal magazines, and they have a big social media following of other vendors. So you can go through and find some vendors on social media, follow them, and just start interacting with them. So you can reply to their stories, you can comment on their posts, just be engaging with them authentically on social media, and do this to form a relationship. So your goal from this shouldn't necessarily be that you want to get referrals. Should be that you want to connect with them authentically and organically on social media and form that relationship. And then from there, those referrals and those that business growth will follow.
I love that you are concerned with making sure that these relationships are authentic and they're not just a one-way street.
Yeah, definitely.
I love that you focus on that a lot in the things that you say, because it really is, and nobody wants to be about everyone else all the time. So to have someone send you love and send you attention, that's amazing. So what else could someone do to form a relationship with a vendor? How can we offer our vendors value, whether it's a wedding or any type of industry?
Yeah, if you're trying to meet vendors for the first time, a really great thing you can do if you're a photographer is you could offer them headshots. You could send them a message on Instagram or shoot them an email and say you're looking to meet some new local vendors, you want to get to know them, and you would love to offer them headshots as a way to just get to know them and spend time with them. So you're giving them value and you're not asking anything in return other than forming a relationship. So use your talents and your gifts that go along with your business to offer them value. And then that's a great way to start that relationship. It's really important that you're not just asking them for something, that you're offering them something of value. So headshots is one great way to get to know someone. You can also just go out, offer to treat them for coffee. You can offer to headshots. If they have a studio, you can go to their studio and do photos of their studio. So whatever your talent is, whether you're a photographer or if you're a florist or if you're hair and makeup, you can use your service and offer that to them as a starting point for that relationship.
I love that. That is such a great idea. I mean, I hadn't even thought about some of those. Those are great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Reed. So tell me how creating a styled shoot can help you network. How does that whole business work for someone that's new and they don't know?
Yeah, so that styled shoots are actually my number one way that I've been able to network with my business. So before I ever shot a wedding, I attended a styled shoot as a photographer. I didn't plan it myself. I went to a workshop with Caroline Logan in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And part of the workshop was a styled shoot. So there was a bride and groom there, and it was a mock wedding. So we had like a reception table set up, a dessert table set up, a ceremony site set up, and it was just a couple. They got dressed up in a wedding dress and they got their hair and makeup done. And we took photos of them, and it was essentially just a big fake wedding. That way all the vendors involved could have photos to use for marketing materials. And so I was able to add wedding images to my portfolio without ever shooting a wedding before. Really? And then from there, I could take those photos and I pitched myself to other vendors back in Houston and said, hey, a few months ago, I was a part of this styled shoot. You can see these photos here. And I also got that styled shoot published on Rufflet blog. And I could say, this was my very first styled shoot. It was published on Rufflet blog. You can view that publication here. I'm now looking to plan a styled shoot back in Houston, and I would love for you to be a part of it. If you'd be interested in collaborating, let me know. So the first thing I did was I attended a styled shoot as a photographer to build my portfolio with those wedding images. And then I took those images in my portfolio and the social proof from being published with those photos. And I reached out to other vendors in Houston and asked them to get together with me and plan a styled shoot of our own. And so what I did is I offered those vendors my photos as a service, and then I offered them the possibility of being published in a local or a national magazine. And so that was what I was offering those vendors. In exchange, all I needed was for them to provide hair and makeup, or to create a bouquet for the styled shoot, or to let us use a wedding dress. And then in exchange, they would get my photos, me tagging them on all of my social media, and then me submitting those photos to be published in a local magazine. And so that was kind of how I got started. From there is I went to one styled shoot, then I planned my own. And then from there, I started planning multiple of my own. And that was how I was able to just fast track my growth, is because I was creating relationships with all these vendors in my area by doing these styled shoots. And then they would have photos of mine, and my photos were just being plastered all over their social media and their websites, which in exchange got me a bunch of bookings for my first few weddings.
So do you guys see how this guy is rocking it? Like, seriously, 3 years, 0 to 60, this guy has hammered it, and he's plastered all over all these vendors' websites. And can you imagine the bride that just finally sees his style? That's the one that she wants. And bam, that's it. That's how he got his stuff everywhere. Reed,
Wow.
literally marketed yourself without even having to shoot a wedding. Like, you professionally marketed yourself without actually shooting a wedding. Like, this just blows my mind. This is brilliant. And this is gold for someone that is just starting and trying so hard, but can't book a high-end wedding, can't book what they're trying to book and elevate their brand. And this is just absolute pure gold. If I had known this when I was 17, Woo, I don't even know. Like, I mean, this is just great. This is absolutely great.
Yeah, I think their style shoots are such a great way to be able to shoot where you want your business to go. So a lot of times when I was starting out, the weddings that I was shooting, they weren't where the style of wedding where I wanted to shoot. They weren't as high budget weddings, which is totally okay. They were still fantastic weddings and I loved them. But by shooting styled shoots, I was able to get the images in my portfolio that reflected where I wanted my business to go. And so I shot a styled shoot and I got that published before I'd ever shot a real wedding, which just helped me be able to skyrocket my growth so fast.
Wow, this is incredible. I mean, the business mind that you have behind this is just brilliant, first off. One other tip you had was to send the vendors printed work. Can you elaborate a little bit on how that works?
Yeah, so whether it's after a wedding or after a styled shoot, a really great thing to do is to send the vendors that you're involved with printed photos of your work from that event. So what I did after my very first styled shoot was I printed a few canvases of one of my favorite shots from the styled shoot, and I sent it to the venue, I sent it to the wedding planner, and I sent it to the florist. And then all of these people had physical studios, and they hung up the canvases in their studio or in the venue. So when they had brides that were coming to have a consultation with them, they would see the canvas on the wall and they'd be like, oh, who is that photographer? I love that photo. And then it was a really great way for them to start having conversation and then have those vendors in exchange share my information with them because the brides could see the printed work. So sending printed work to vendors is a really great way to get your work in front of their clients' eyes. And it's a really great way to just have a thank you gift because the vendors really appreciate having any printed work, whether that's an album or a canvas or just prints in a box to use to display their work. So it's kind of a two-way path because it's helping you by getting your photos in front of their clients' eyes, and it's also helping them because it's giving those vendors a chance to show their work in print.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Reed, that's brilliant. That's just brilliant. I've honestly never thought of doing that. And I can imagine, I don't shoot weddings as frequently as you do. I take a very select few because I prefer portraits. That's really my passion. But if I were a wedding photographer, there's no doubt I would be doing this every single vendor that I could, because that would just amplify your bookings. I can't even, I'm just in shock at how brilliant these are.
This can apply to any type of photography. So I don't do this myself, but I know photographers who work a lot with boutiques for either senior photos or for engagement photos. And they'll partner with the boutique and then they'll send the boutique photos of their printed work. So that way, when a senior comes in to find their outfit for their senior photos, they can see that printed work and then ask who that photographer is. And same thing goes for any kind of boutique if they're looking for like an engagement outfit or whether it's a bridal shot for the wedding. So boutiques are another great thing that you can send photos to. And that can apply to any kind of photography. If you're newborns, you could partner with like a baby boutique. There's so many different ways that sending your printed work to different kind of vendors can benefit you.
I love the boutique idea. I could see how that would just help all parties involved and get your work out there in front of everyone, even if you're not in the wedding industry. That's a great suggestion. Absolutely. Now, you also mentioned featuring a vendor. Can you tell me about this and how that would benefit everyone?
Yeah, so one great thing to do is you can feature a vendor, whether it's on your social media or on your blog, if you have a blog on your website, and then just give them a shout out. I like to every month or so feature a different vendor on my Instagram, and I'll just write a few sentences about how I love working with them and why they're such a great vendor and why my bride should hire them. And then I'll post a photo of some of their work. And then that's just a really great way to to get in touch with a vendor and show them your appreciation. And then in turn, that vendor might go and they'll reshare your post on their story. Same thing with a blog. you can write that and send it out to your email list. And then that vendor might also send the blog out to their email list too. So it's a great way to market for both of y'all, because you are giving that vendor appreciation and talking about the vendor to your clients. And then that vendor might share what you say to their clients as well.
I absolutely love this. That's perfect. Okay, so if you were not taking notes, that was a ton of information, so don't worry at all. Reed has a free download just for you guys. So all of this is in a nice, beautiful document that Reed made. So just go down to the description box and you will see a link in our bio, and you will see a link directly to this free download. It's amazing. You need it in your life and you do not want to miss it. Has absolutely all of the tips that we've discussed, and it even has more in there. So make sure you hop down there, grab that download. Reed, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. It was so fun.
Thank you so much. And if you guys have any more questions for Reed, how can we get a hold of you? How can people find you, Reed?
Yeah, so you can follow me over on Instagram. It's Reed Gallagher Photo. Or you can just go to my website. It's reedgallagher.com. And always feel free to message me either on Instagram, or if it's something longer, shoot me an email and I'm happy to reply and chat with you there.
Thank you so much, Reed. And guys, please don't forget to subscribe below, like this video if it has been helpful for you. That tells the YouTube algorithm that this is good content and it'll help other photographers as well. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining us. Bye.
Every time you feel the walls are closing in, and it seems like nothing makes it better, you should try to remember that's just how it is.